Wall Street awaiting Friday's July jobs report. Economists expect non-farm payrolls to rise by 212,000 during the month. Now, tomorrow is the second to last reading on the labor market before the Federal Reserve September meeting, when many economists expect a rate hike announcement. Here to preview tomorrow's all-important report is Emanuella Enenajor, senior North America economist at Bank of America Merrill Lynch. And Emanuella, we saw some weakness in ADP's labor report on Wednesday, which tends to foreshadow what we'll see in Friday's report. But of course, this morning we saw weekly jobless claims rising less than expected, so some good news there. What's your take on what we'll see in Friday's report?
So I think we'll see an increase of 215,000 jobs, so roughly in line with the consensus view, as you mentioned. ADP claims, these are all pieces of information that kind of get us to that full picture, and I think the truth is somewhere in between. We're likely going to see decent job growth in line with the 6-month average, and fundamentally we think that that's really what the Fed needs to see in order for a liftoff later this year.
All right, well, let me ask you about that, because one jobs report doesn't make a trend. But of course, if we see job growth for July below 200,000, and with just 6 weeks until the Fed's meeting, I mean, doesn't that put the Fed in a tight spot?
I think it's definitely something that would be a negative for the Fed. They've said that they're data dependent. So definitely a weak jobs report, weak hiring would definitely kind of raise the risk. The Fed wants to see a bit more improvement in the jobs data before they move. But that's not all that the Fed is looking at. I mean, they're going to be looking at the jobless rate. They're going to be looking at wage growth. We've got other labor indicators such as initial jobless claims and JOLTS data happening between now and the September meeting. So it's true, if we get one weak report, that certainly raises the risks of a more cautious Fed, but we've also got another report just before the meeting in September. So, we don't think that this is the be-all and end-all for the Fed.
And you're still looking at a September rate hike?
That's right. Our base case is for September. We think the Fed is ready to move if we do see a continuation of an improved jobs market. In particular for this report, I think if we see an improvement in wages, if we see at least a stabilization in the unemployment rate, perhaps even a decline there, and decent hiring. It doesn't need to be the trend that we saw over the past year. It can be low 200s. That's really all the Fed needs to see to be convinced that we're gradually reducing slack in the labor market.
All right, Emanuella, we'll leave it there. Emanuella Enenajor, a senior North America economist at Bank of America Merrill Lynch. Thanks very much for your time.
Thank you.
I'm Scott Gamm, and you're watching The Street.